We have a roll call, please.
Mayor Tewalt,
Here.
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Here.
Councilman Cockrell,
Here.
Councilman Gillespie,
Here.
Councilman Holloway,
Here.
Councilman Meza,
Here.
Councilman Thompson. He's absent.
Motion carried. Next item tonight is item 4, special council meeting minutes of October the 5th, 2020, work session minutes of October the 5th, the 8th, and the 12th, 2020, regular council meeting minutes of October the 19th, 2020. To hear a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the special council meeting minutes of October the 5th, 2020, the work session minutes of October the 5th, October 8th, and October the 12th, 2020, and the regular council meeting minutes of October the 19th, 2020 as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next item tonight is item 5, is receipt of petitions or correspondence from the public. Our clerk, do we have anybody to speak?
Yes, Paul Gabbert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Paul Gabbert, 1221 Valley View Drive. I'd like to bring attention to the council as soon as I open up my book here. On a public notice in the Northern Virginia Daily concerning the request for rezoning of land in the Happy Creek area. It stated the request was from the Front Rural IDA and the Warren County EDA. I didn't know that Front Rural had an IDA. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can clarify it for me, but I don't think we have one. I don't know. Maybe the interim town manager thought he could slip that in without anybody noticing, but someone did. I believe this was a deliberate attempt at trying to misguide and deceive the public for the personal satisfaction of the interim town manager to see his dream in print. This was not written by anyone else, as every town employee knows there is no Front Rural IDA. This was an outright lie to the citizens of Front Rural and all readers of the Northern Virginia Daily. Is this the type of behavior by the interim manager? Is this type of behavior okay with the town council? Or is this just going to be one more time council will dig deeply into the pocket of mumbo-jumbo excuses for one more careless act by the interim town manager? This is a serious issue. This is a blatant attempt at deception. This misguided action by the interim town manager is grounds for immediate dismissal. If council chooses not to dismiss the interim town manager, you will be showing you accept deception and lies over the truth. It is council's decision on how they want to show the citizens of Front Rural that truth matters over lies and deception, or lies and deception matters over truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gabbert. Any other speaker? Okay. Next item tonight is a report of the special committees, town officials, or interim town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I appreciated Mr. Gabbert's false attacks. I think it's important to note the official name of the IDA. I believe it was correct in the public notice, but we'll double check that and make sure Mr. Gabbert gets some facts straight. As it relates to other issues, Mr. Mayor, as it relates to other issues,
Mr. Gabbert.
I appreciate being able to speak, Mr. Mayor.
Assistant or the Mr. Tedrick cannot call any individual out by name or as an individual. All his comments will be taken to the council themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Gabbard.
You're
Thank you
welcome,
so
Mr.
much. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Gabbard. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're darn right
Thank you,
we
Mr. Gabbard.
appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I don't want to see any more outrage, anybody getting up tonight speaking during the time someone is speaking. So take that into consideration here this evening, please. Matt, would
Thank you, Mr.
continue?
Mayor. I was going to say something that's very positive about the last couple weekends ago. Mr. Mayor, we had an influencer event, which 10 influencers came to Front Royal. We got extraordinary contacts and outreach. It was disclosed last week that one of the individuals who contacted one of the influencers had 168,000 followers, or I'm sorry, 638,000 followers. So that was organically delivered because of the event. Additionally, in this past week, the Washington Post on Friday covered a fall festival or leaf changing article, and one of the influencers' blog post was prominently identified in the Washington Post article. So we're getting great traction as it relates to our tourism marketing. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item is requests and inquiries of council members.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak. Had some interesting facts this week to look at. Past week at our regular meeting, a citizen speaker indicated these financial issues with the EDA should have been resolved earlier in reference to the police department. Maybe, or maybe not, would be my answer by the councilman. A little history on resolution of the $8.4 million construction figure was resolved with extended time of review by the town finance director, Carolyn Stimble, and constant review by council, town attorney, town auditor, town manager, and others to arrive at an agreeable figure. Fortunately, Carolyn Stimble is working again to resolve the interest of the $500,000, in which we are very appreciative of the effort that she is putting forth. This brings us to the present day in resolving the financial issues between the town and the EDA. If the records at the EDA has taken numerous hours of review, then it takes time to resolve the issues. As pointed out by Councilman Holloway, the EDA has not been audited in 2 years. The town goes through extensive audits annually, and which one was just completed this month. A letter several weeks ago had been sent to the chairman of the EDA by the county supervisors wanting resolution to interest issues between the town and the EDA. Council is appreciative of the county supervisor's efforts in this matter. The chairman of the EDA supposedly has informed his board of this action, but the town has not been advised of any action weeks later. I am hoping the mayor will be advised by the chairman of said letter and actions needed. Hopefully, it will not be a November surprise intended to embarrass the town council again. Hopefully, the mayor will establish with the chairman of the EDA a complete review of the interest dollars by all parties involved in this matter. It has been demonstrated by successful completion on the police department construction loan that open communications are required in this matter as well. Again, I am stating sufficient documentation is needed with each EDA invoice to include loans, credits, payment checks, vendor invoices, etc. A one-page EDA invoice is inadequate. At this time, knowing the effort put forth by Carolyn Stimmel in resolving this issue to arrive at EDA claims for payment, these backup documents have been requested by this councilman on numerous occasions, will be essential for verification. A draft worksheet prepared by Ms. Stimmel has been prepared as she tries to resolve the issues. Copies of documents are also essential on all requests for payments of invoices. There are many council concerns and resolutions of this matter. 1, EDA draw dates are used to calculate interest based on requisition dates, but noticeable concerns are noted. Duplicate draws are evident in this spreadsheet. Draws on various accounts, differ loans by the EDA. Draws included in non-town related items are witness and source documents. Number 2, EDA checks are cut several months after the draw dates, clouding interest payments. In other words, if you got a request for a draw in December and it doesn't occur until you don't get the check to February, there's 3 months of interest. That's what clouds these kind of things and takes time to work out. Number 3, refinance efforts in July 2018 with United Bank with 3% on closing documents. Noted, we see 3.75% versus the 3% until October 2018 for payment. As stated previously, various loans, credits, and interest have been charged to the police department on Leech Run Parkway line of credit. I take exception to that. We need an answer to those kind of things. This needs to be explained as to double charging or how does this happen. This is not a simple process, and I'm well aware of that, to resolve all these ongoing issues and the questions stated here. Again, Council is very appreciative of the efforts of the Board of Supervisors and Carolyn Stimmel's assistance in this matter. I worked with her when we did the reconciliation of the construction loan for the police department. Very professional. Also, it is not a simple matter for the EDA board or director in this matter as well, but a real effort is being put forth. Thank you for my comment. Thank you for letting me have these comments.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to share a couple things, some positive things. There are two particular individuals that I've noted lately are making an effort towards doing something positive for our community, not really part of an organization, but just taking it upon themselves. And I just wanted to share, one citizen, Tracy, Pauline Funk, Tracy runs a blanket drive every year around this time and collects used or new blankets, as long as they're clean, to distribute later to those people that are in need of that. And then also another citizen named Brittany Lewis, who has organized, it's called Save the Children, and I know that next Saturday she's hosting, or her organization is hosting, a color run, and Save the Children is raising money for to combat against human trafficking, with the focus on children. So if any citizens would be interested in more information about that, I'd be glad to give it to you. But I just really want to applaud the efforts of two people that have just kind of taken on an area that needs to be addressed and putting their own efforts towards that. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Next item tonight is report of the mayor. I would like to address Bill Seelock's comments here this evening. I met with this morning at 10 o'clock with Jeff Brown, who is the chairman of the EDA, and he and I discussed invoices on the interest payments. We discussed the Leech Run Parkway. He informed me that BJ and some of his staff are working to get the Leech Run Parkway invoices all put together so that they can be presented, and hopefully we can come up with an actual figure that we can all agree upon. We also talked about the West Main Connector, which is that road that goes into the IT Federal property, which is on the EDA property, or IDA, whichever one you call it. And we talked about that as well, and I informed him of the letter that we had received in regards to from the EDA of the state of Virginia stating that, or Transportation Board, that we may wind up having to spend some money on that in order to pay back money because they did not follow up on some of the issues that they were supposed to have done. The last thing I talked about was the money that so-called that we owe the EDA, and in regards to the 70-30 split, or it's either 70-30 or 72-28. There was two projects that we did back before 2014 when we actually got out of the actual EDA and put them on their own. So before that, we had helped finance Torrey Drive, Stevens Run, and several other projects that was in there. And we talked about those, and in turn, he told me right now that they were working on those to get the amount of money, but they're having problems finding a lot of the records because they had disappeared at the hands of the former administrator. And so they're working on all of these things that Mr. Seelock has referred to here this evening. So I just want to let the council be aware that they're working on that, working with BJ, our treasurer, or really our finance director, and hopefully that these things will be done. He also informed me that he met with our interim town manager last Friday in regards to these issues. So I just want to let the public know that we are working on those things. Thank you. That concludes my report this evening. Next item tonight is proposal for additions, deletions of items to the agenda.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to add item number 10, please.
Okay. Would you tell us a little bit about it?
Supplemental resolution of the town council authorizing and approving a loan in the original principal amount of $8,483, $8,483,001.15 made by the United Bank as lender to the town as borrower.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Let's take a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Yes.
Councilman Cockrell,
Yes.
Councilman Gillespie,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilman Meza,
Yes.
and Councilman Thompson is absent.
Motion approved. We'll add item 10 this evening to our agenda. Next item tonight is the council approval of consent agenda items. First item is bid on snow removal services for FY21 winter season. Second one is sole source purchase of the Zurich pump control valve for the water treatment plant. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
That was we have a motion and a second. Does anyone want to pull off either one of the items for separate? Okay. With that, could I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Yes.
Councilman Cockrell,
Yes.
Councilman Gillespie,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilman Meza,
Yes.
and Councilman Thompson is absent.
Motion carried. Next item tonight is the public hearing. The public hearing is amendment to Charter 4-1 and 4-1.1 of the Town Code pertaining to the location of meetings and remote participation of meetings for all public bodies. Before we open the public hearing, could you read the summary, please?
Council is requested to affirm on its first reading an ordinance to amend Chapter 4-1 and 4-1.1 of the Front Royal Town Code that would clarify when and where Town Council meets and include all public bodies to participate in meetings remotely by electronic means as presented.
This time I'd like to open up the public hearing. Is there any speakers here this evening?
There's none signed up.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak on this? Yes, sir, Mr. Gabbard.
Make a motion first. Oh, we have to make a motion first.
Paul Gabbard, 1221 Valley View Drive. I would just like a clarification on it, Mr. Mayor. When it only says public, it doesn't mention council. Is this going to be to where the public is still invited to come in here? I know the meetings can be moved from here. They can be moved from Town Hall. Is there going to be, are the meeting rooms going to be large enough to take up this many people? How's it going to go? Or is the public still going to be able to attend the meetings, or are we going to have to do it over computer?
Mr. Garrett, everything should stay the same. The only thing we're doing here this evening is allowing participation through telephone and/or the movement of the actual meeting. That we ran into a problem with that last Monday night because our meeting was on a holiday. And then Tuesday, the following day, where we normally would have met, this building was being occupied by the board supervisors. And so we're just trying to make some corrections to our ordinances in order to, so
Okay,
that we
I
can
agree
make
100%.
things worked out properly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gabbard. Anyone else would like to speak this evening? Second time, anyone would like to come forward? Third time, would anybody like to come forward? Meeting is closed. Heard motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council affirm on its first reading an ordinance to amend Chapter 4-1 and 4-1.1 of the Front Royal Town Code that would clarify when and where town council meets and include all public bodies to participate in meetings remotely by electronic means as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Yes.
Councilman Cockrell,
Yes.
Councilman Gillespie,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilman Meza,
Yes.
and Councilman Thompson's absent.
Motion carried. Next item tonight is item number 9, council approval, purchase of a record management mobile MOU for reimbursement and FY22 budget amendment. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move that council approve the purchase of Motorola's Spillman Records Management Judicial Sharing Module that allows quick transfers of police records to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in the amount of $12,785.42, and to approve a memorandum of understanding with Warren County to allow for the reimbursement of $12,785.42. I further move that council approve a budget amendment in the amount of $12,785.42 to accept the reimbursement from Warren County and to direct the interim town manager to execute the MOU.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, could I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Yes.
Councilman Cockrell,
Yes.
Councilman Gillespie,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilman Meza,
Yes.
and Councilman Thompson is absent.
Motion carried. Next item tonight is item number 10, resolution of the town council authorizing and approval of a loan for United Bank. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, Mayor. Subject to the following contingency, I move that town council approve the attached supplemental resolution authorizing and approving a loan in the original principal of $8,483,001.15 made by the United Bank as lender to the town as borrower to refinance the police department headquarters, authorizing and approving the loan documents prepared in connection with the loan, authorizing and approving certain town officials to execute and deliver the loan documents, authorizing and approving the granting of security interest in and the lien on certain property owned by the town, and authorizing other necessary actions in connection with the foregoing. This motion approving the supplemental resolution expressing contingent upon town council, the town manager, finance director, town attorney approving the details of final loan documents once the final details are released by no later than Tuesday, October 27th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Otherwise, if town council, town manager, finance director, town attorney do not approve said loan documents by Wednesday, October 28th by 4 p.m., this approval of the supplemental resolution may be rescinded by town council, and town council shall hold a special meeting on Wednesday, October 28, 2020, 7 p.m. in Front Royal, Virginia, Town Hall, to rescind its approval, to modify its approval, or ratify its approval of said supplemental resolution.
Do I hear a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to explain what's going on here to council?
Well, what we need is a resolution. First thing is to have it approved because it's a requirement of the United Bank. And in so doing, we don't even really have the documents in hand at this time, so we're making this special, approving this special here this evening so that we can either get it in hand because it was part of the resolution that they sent us that the council nor I have read. And so that's why we're doing it as a contingent upon the council approval of that particular portion of that resolution. The second thing is that if this doesn't come forward by the date specified in this resolution, then we will have to have a special meeting in order to approve the document that is required by the United Bank. Is that pretty close?
Yes, that's pretty close. That's fine. We just wanted to make sure, Mr. Napier and I wanted to make sure there's one paragraph in the resolution that states that the council's already reviewed the documents.
Yeah,
And we
right.
literally just got the documents at 5:30 today.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure council had time to review them, but we didn't necessarily want to have another special meeting called in the event we didn't need it. So we just wanted to clarify that for the council and for the public.
Right. Anyone else? Any other discussion? Hearing none, could I have a roll call?
Vice Mayor Seelock,
Yes.
Councilman Cockrell,
Yes.
Councilman Gillespie,
Yes.
Councilman Holloway,
Yes.
Councilman Meza,
Yes.
and Councilman Thompson is absent.
Motion carried. That concludes our meeting this evening, our regular meeting. At this time, we'll go into a work session meeting. Thank everybody for coming here this evening.